Hey everybody, welcome to In the Spotlight with AJ, and I've also got a very, 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 very special guest to me, and I've been dying to do this interview for so long as a radio presenter and also as a new podcast owner. I have got Mr. Paul Austin, aka VIPSuite, joining us in the lounge this evening. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you much indeed for having us, Adrian. It's one of those nights. It's hot, it's sticky, and also England's playing today, so we got a lot to get through and a lot to hear.
We have, being a mutual football fan as well. I've not actually watched an England game yet. I've been too busy. So this will be my first
Well,
England game.
hopefully you'll get to watch a game. I understand they're through to the next round anyway, so maybe they won't put the same sort of effort in because I think one of the there you go. But listen, it's an England game. It's worth watching.
And we're not
We
here
may as
to...
well be miserable as well as being hot and sticky.
That's very true. We're not here to talk about football. Let's get on to something even more exciting. We're here to do your live interview in the Spotlight with AJ. So, right, okay, I know Paul, and I've known him for quite some time. We were just chatting before the show started. I was very, very lucky to play one of his first singles live on my radio show when I was doing radio. So, but he's gone on a massive journey since I met him. Absolutely massive. And we're going to try and find out some of that about you.
Absolutely.
During the show tonight. So, for those who don't know you, okay, a quick introduction about you. Okay, so VIPSuite, okay, you're basically a rock band. This is the bio, okay, so you might change it a little bit when you talk. But basically, a rock band from the north of England in the UK. Teesside, I gather that means Newcastle.
Well, no, Teesside covers Gateshead, not as far as Newcastle. Newcastle is in Newcastle upon Tyne. Teesside's a bit before Newcastle, maybe about 45-minute ride. We're in the northeast. We're on the Middlesbrough northeast coast, closer to Whitby than we are to Newcastle, actually. Durham, over to Darlington with the station there. So that's the kind of give you the geographical position.
Okay. First thing first, Paul, you've disappointed me. I thought I was interviewing Anton Deck voice tonight. I was like, I had this Newcastle thing going on in my head.
So I must tell you why that is. I'm actually from Manchester originally. So I'm more like Oasis than I'm more
Oasis. Okay.
So Manchester born originally, moved up to the north, to marry my wife there, who's from the area. So that's why I'm in the Teesside area.
That's where in the Teesside. So come on, red or blue?
Always been red. It's been a long. I'm talking back to days of Bobby Charlton, George Best, Dennis Law, Willie Morgan days. That's how old I am. So I couldn't tell you the new United team, but I can tell you what it was when I went to go and watch it.
It's going to go under a few changes this year anyway. I don't think anyone knows the United team before the new season starts. So, Paul, VIPSuite, come on, let's go right back. When you got together, what was your vision?
So, can I take up the time to tell you a little bit about how this came about?
Exactly, I want to know.
So I hit a number of a birthday and decided that I was no longer going to be responsible for paying people's salaries, and I'm worrying about pensions and national insurance and everything else that everybody else has to worry about. I'd had enough of doing that. 35 years of work in the building industry. I'd been before that quite an accomplished musician back in the late 70s and early 80s. But we can dive around that. So I got to a part of my age where I figured it was time to reopen the dream box. That dream box had been sitting on the top of the wardrobe for the best part of 40 years. So I took it off. It was the beginning of COVID, and everyone's got a COVID story, but it really was that. I took it down, blew off the dust, realized there was a lot of music in there that I'd never recorded, never realized. Just lyrics, just riffs, just melodies, on cassette tape of all things. And I put an ad actually out on a website called Bandmix, which is where a lot of musicians look for each other. Yeah. And I put an advert out, said this, was a bit of a old timer there, grey around the ears, heavy around the waist again, but still had the rock and roll in him. You never get rid of rock and roll when you're born.
Never get rid of it. No,
and I was looking to see if I could find somebody that might be interested in just really knocking a band together for more fun than anything else. I did a quick audition with a band that was playing, covered songs. They were rehearsing in a little sort of church hall type thing. And at that rehearsal, there was no point in me going for it. I could realize that band didn't fit what I wanted, but there was a guitarist in that band who came out after the audition and basically said to me, look, I'm quitting this band. I want to go with you. Whatever your dreams are, I'm on board as well. I can feel it. I've immediately connected with you. It was astonishing. And from that, we then we knocked a few songs around that I had already written. He'd had a few ideas as well. And we put an advert out, Facebook, and we get a phone call from Slovakia, of all places. And it was an English-speaking voice, and it was a woman who was trying to explain to me that her boyfriend was an accomplished percussionist and drummer from Slovakia. Now, you imagine me trying to communicate that, thinking this is a bit weird. Cut a long story short, she was that confident of her boyfriend's ability. They invited myself and Jay to come over to Slovakia to do a number of rehearsals with a view to doing a couple of shows. I was intrigued enough to say, do you know what? I'm going to risk this. So we flew over to the Slovakia via Bratislava, get there, meet this guy who's about 6'5" with his girlfriend. She spoke pretty good English. He was very poorly, just about to say his name, really. We went into a rehearsal room. I'd already sent forward to him a number of recordings that Jay and I had been working on. And we'd take a couple of typical covers that everybody could warm up to and the get to know you covers. So the language barrier was real, but let me tell you this, when we played the music, there was no language barriers. The language of music is absolutely uniform across the world. It's one language. That key is the same key in every language on this planet. And this guy was an absolute whiz kid of a drummer. I was just blown away. Jay and I just sat jaw-dropped. He was jaw-dropped because he'd never played with English musicians before. He loved English rock music. He'd invited a young bass player to join us. And in an essence, we did about 2 days rehearsing in a dark and dingy, wet basement in a village called Pishtani outside of Bratislava. And after 2 days, we were booked to do 2 shows. One was in a crazy dive bar, which was absolutely rammed, and one was for a beer festival. And the rest is history. That band came together through the language of music across the European connection.
Wow.
We busted through the Brexit difficulties, etc., as you could say. And I'm telling you, the emotional connection that we had through music was astonishing. We did the 2 shows. This was my first show in 42 years.
Wow.
I don't know how I got through it, to be honest with you. At the end of it, the crowd went crazy for us. And Slovakia has become our second home.
Wow.
So following on from that, which is going to be where I'm sure you'll take your listeners today through our music emotion, is that we then booked a studio in Slovakia.
Okay.
And we recorded our first song, the one that you kindly played on your show many months ago.
Yeah.
And that was Mark Card. So I'd written Mark Card with Jay. Jay and I presented it to FoFo, whose actual name is Milan, but FoFo actually is 4-4 in Slovak language. So everyone's learned a little bit of Slovak tonight. And we booked a studio in Slovakia, in Bratislava. And we had an Hungarian engineer who was absolutely magic, incredible. And the results of that was the production of Mark Card, the first record that we did. And from there, we can now start to take you on the journey wherever you want to go with this, Adrian, because we've got so much to talk about.
We have. And
the growth of the band. And that is, I think what's important is that people must never, ever give up on their dreams.
No.
I nearly did it. And I reached absolutely down into my pit of my stomach to remember that I loved the music this much.
You said you left you said you left the box on top of your cupboard and it was like all covered in dust. How old were you when you started?
I was 17 when I first started.
And your first band?
The first band was called, believe it or not, Graf Spee, named after the German battleship, which was a typical name of that period. I had a great guitarist in the band at that time. And I'm going to tell you more stories, which are going to be quite goose pimply through your show today. I was in a band called Graf Spee. It then became a band called Mr. Z. Then it became a band called Shadowlight. And from Shadowlight, I went into a band which became quite a famous band, and that was Fire Clown. That's the sort of small journey. It stopped at Fire Clown, and then I was in a punk band, which I've still got some paper cuttings from. They were called the Digger Dugdales, and I'll talk to you about all these bands through the evening and how important they were in my musical journey. And then that stopped. It was just, we were into the period of music, which was Haircut 100, George Michael, and this was not where I was, unfortunately. So my journey in music, the revolution of music, had stopped. And I basically was going nowhere with it. You couldn't get music contracts. And people can produce records now. This conversation could be a record in the morning. In them days, it was a hard slog. We tried America, we tried Europe, we tried London. With Jet Records, we tried with them. It was very, very difficult to secure a record contract. So that's the sort of what I call the genesis of my musical career. And where we are today is the journey continues, but now we're in a rocket ship.
You are a rocket ship.
We are in a rocket ship.
You are, and that's the name of your new single, isn't it? Spaceship. Is that where it's come from?
No, I'll tell you the lyrics on that, and we have a super video about it. I mean, I don't know how you're going to edit your show tonight, but I'm probably getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
We don't edit; we just free flow. Because
right. Well, I mean, you're probably aware that Spaceship has become this absolute crazy hit that everybody goes mental for when we play it live. It's fast, it's furious, it's cowpunk, it's psychobilly, it's blues, it's rock, it's punk, it's grunge, all wrapped up into one big song. And anybody that loves those genres of music is going to love Spaceship. And Spaceship is dedicated to every single musician, whether they are a pianist in a bar, a choir, a rock band on the road, a duo with their gear in the back of the car. Because every one of us has suffered, and I'm sure you know this, car breakdowns. We ran out of fuel. The motorway's blocked. We got pulled over by the police. The van breaks down. There's not enough room in the van for all the kit. We can't park the damn thing wherever we arrive. We get a flat tire, and on it goes. And this rush to get to a show, the rush to get your gear out, somewhere to find a parking space. Every single musician that you've ever listened to, met, seen, at least once has suffered that misery. So we wrote the song, and the first line is, we're a band of brothers four, starting out on another tour, 1,000 miles of journey. We'll go wherever our music goes. Basically, it says to every musician, we wish we had the TARDIS. We wish we could put all our gear in a spaceship, press Manchester, Birmingham, Slovakia, New York, and 30 seconds later, we're there. Scotty has been putting the stuff in the engines, go where no people have gone before stuff, and we arrive and we just coolly get out and all our gear set up for us. That's the mystery of Spaceship.
I don't know if you saw, Paul, I was speaking to a gentleman called Andrew Dean in America on one of the shows this week, and he's a Texan. And one of my questions to him was 300 shows. How the hell do you manage that? And he just turned around. He said, young man, he said, there's not many people who ask me that question. He goes, when I put my hat on, I just go for it. I mean business. He needs that spaceship right now. He's got 300 to do in that period of time.
We all need it. We're praying for it. And so what happened from that was we've just made a crazy video.
I've seen that. You didn't spend much on the budget. It was like a 50p
budget.
No,
yeah? it was part of something called 2 weeks to make a movie. Okay. And Elmet Films, Heather at Elmet Films, we got together with her in this 2 weeks to make a movie thing, and she came up with this funky idea.
Fantastic, I love it.
You know what? I wasn't in love with it at first, but it's growing on me all the time.
It's grown on me all day. When I've been watching it all day,
and everybody's getting into it. Everybody's getting into it, and I'm hoping that it's going to be one of those ones where it not only takes off as a spaceship from the song, but everybody's enjoying the film. It's wacky, it's crazy, but you know what? You can follow the story of the music through the video, and even I am now growing warmer and warmer to it. Fans are coming back saying it's absolutely super, really enjoying it. And listen, let's hope it takes off. We only launched it yesterday, so
I'm sure it's going to take off. I'm sure it's going to take off.
So that's Spaceship.
I've passed you over to America and things like that, and everybody's been really loving it. Everyone's really been loving whiskey as well. One of the other
we can talk about that.
So I would like to cover whiskey as well, because that was.
Have you seen the video?
I have seen the video. Explain a bit more about how that come about.
Right. Well, I thought my acting skills were pretty good there. I mean, not quite Brad Pitt, but not too shabby. Yeah?
Do you know there's one thing you love is a photograph? You've been sending me photographs all day.
Absolutely, man.
So how did that come about?
Okay, well, Whiskey Time, it's dedicated to a girl called Renata. I must give her a shout out. She's from Slovakia. She's absolutely a super VIPSuite fan. And Renata is our dancing queen, one of the VIP angels. She absolutely loves it. And she's quite the whiskey drinker over her time. That used to be her shop. So she used to wear a T-shirt that said "Whiskey Time" all the time. She's a fun lady. She's a lot of fun. In Slovakia, our drummer, who FoFo, he also at the time was in a band called Evolution Shock, and he himself was writing some music. It was a one-man band. Evolution Shock is him, and he had musicians that joined him to make music. When he joined with us as being in VIPSuite, he asked me if I would write lyrics and sing on a couple of riffs that he put together. One being "Whiskey Time." The other one is "Living to Ride," which is also on the new album. You've not got the video for that. So "Whiskey Time" came about. We're in a studio, the same studio we used for the VIPSuite, and I wrote the lyrics basically in an afternoon in the studio. I basically told the guys, "Go get pizza. I think I know where this song needs to go." I got the idea. I know Renata's our inspiration, and the first lyrics, she's in a barroom corner drinking a whiskey, and so I wrote the song. He then said, "Paul, would you sing it for us? Because there's nobody going to be able to sing English. You're the only one going to put it over." We sung it. We recorded it in the studio. Members of VIPSuite did backing vocals on that and harmonies and stuff. And then he said, "Look, man, I've got to do a video for this." So the bar that we play gigs in, it's called the Hangar Bar in Piestani, basically said, "Would you do it in our bar?" It's a promotion for the bar. We hired a beautiful young model to come in. Renata's in the video as well. I'm not saying she's not a beautiful
Hang on a minute.
not a young model.
Paul, I'm stopping you there. You're in a different country and you just hire someone. How do you get the numbers for saying, "Do you know what? Again, I'm doing a music video now."
But not me myself, but with FoFo's connections, our drummer's connections, he calls up the model agencies, he calls around, and he gets the crew together, gets the film crew together. We got the bar to allow us to use the bar. I mean, you remember in that bar, you see her smoking a cigarette. We've gone back generations in that video.
Yeah.
Because that's what we wanted to project. It was a video that was supposed to sort of go back to the sort of 70s. That you could smoke it was a dark lit corner, smoky bar. A kind of real traditional rock song.
Definitely,
yeah. And everybody loves it. It's a smash hit. It had 31,000 views.
It looks as though it had been produced over about a year. You're telling me, how long did it take you to do this?
It was a morning.
You done this all in the morning?
All in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
You watch the video and it's like been produced professionally for about a year.
Absolutely.
You've done this in the morning? Yeah. That's impressive.
In the morning. We were and then we did a gig in the evening. So just to give you an idea, we did a show in the evening. So the video was put together, and that was what you saw there. Even I was impressed. It was launched about a week later after obviously the production had been put on it, and all the stuff that you got to do, the slow-mos and things. And in its first 2 months, it got 31,000 views.
Wow.
I mean, we just couldn't. It just blew up. I was hoping one of the whiskey companies would have picked it up, like Johnny Walker, and said, "You know what, we'll do that." But it's too much woke. Nobody wants to see a girl smoking in a bar, and nobody wants to talk about whiskey and hard drinking men drinking whiskey. Which is what it's all about.
I think we're sending that over to Tennessee. I think that's what I was talking to.
Oh, they're loving Tennessee. We talk about Jackie. Jackie's in there. One of the lines is Jackie's there. Red, white, and blue with Johnny.
This is definitely a shout out to my friend.
It's a big hit. It's a super hit. It's also on our new album.
Okay.
It's been incorporated on the new album as one of the 8 tracks on the new album. We'll get to that a little bit in a minute. And so because I wrote the songs, sung on the songs, they form part of VIPSuite's second release. So listen, I'm glad you've seen Whiskey Time, and I'm glad you liked it, because it's an easy one to poke fun at, because it's a classic rock song. It's a classic rock video.
For me, Paul, it was just trying to understand how you are planning a tour, you are planning a new single, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you've planned this video, which looks as though it's been professionally produced in a period of time. It's like, I was like, cheer up, mate. I can't, when me and you first met, I was playing a single, and we were playing it out to everybody to listen to. And you've gone from playing a single on the radio to rock star, to going out and meeting these people.
Adrian,
it's like, wow.
You know what, man? You've hit it absolutely on the button. We are grinding out every hour. We live and breathe it. You can't take your foot off the gas, because if you've not got a build up, you don't start to build this crescendo in the music, in the love of the band, or the interest. There's 10,000 bands out there. They'll just crawl all over you.
Exactly.
So we are giving no breathing space. Our shows are absolutely full on blood, sweat, and tears. Nobody leaves a VIP show without saying, wow, without saying, I've had a great night, without remembering the lyrics to more than one of our songs.
Brilliant.
And I'm telling you, that is down to 4 fantastic musicians. And our stagecraft is becoming better and better. Like a football team that knows where everybody moves, the band's stagecraft now has been honed.
That's where my lead is. I've got you. Okay. So one of the big questions on AJ in the spotlight is where does it go wrong? You've got 4 people who perfectly work together. You must have had times that went wrong. Name and shame them. Come on. Who's the worst in the band? Who's the worst person?
And let me tell you, what you've got here is a little bit like what Queen used to say. 4 very individual people.
Okay.
We've got a Slovakian drummer.
Okay.
Who's very little English. We've got a guitarist who's similar age to myself, but came really actually from a more Who. Oh, sorry, my phone just went off there.
That's okay.
Came from the Who sort of sounds. Oh, it keeps going off, and I shouldn't have it on the radio. I can't take this thing off. Oh, I'm going to turn him off. Somebody ringing me.
Do you know, this is what we live about live shows.
Yeah, it's live music. I'm going to turn it off, though. We've got a Slovakian drummer, as I said. We've got Jay on the guitar, who came from a sort of punk era of the sort of 70s, 80s, was not a rock playing guitarist. And then we got a very young bass player who is, in our cowpunk look, is the punk rocker of the band, Matthew. Very different, you know, The Clash, 999, those sort of bands is his love of music. Those 4 people, where we've clashed is everybody wants to get there, do something, wants to contribute. So I'll come up with an idea, a lyric, a melody. Jay will develop the music around that. FoFo then will put his drum beat down on that to bring it to life. And then the percussion section comes through with Matthew. He'll write his own bass lines. Nobody tells him how to play his bass. We don't guide the bass. He finds his own bass on that. And I think the arguments of the band have been things like, can you do more to promote? Can you do more to help? Can you do more to work us forward? But from a musical point of view, everybody's on focused in. Everybody believes in the sound. We have a very individual sound. Everybody believes in the journey we're trying to achieve. And I'll tell you this, I think we are, 3 of us who are all over 50 plus, and Matthew's who's 24, we all believe that we can launch Matt. If what we do, we get a good 10 years of rock and roll, but young Matthew gets a lifetime career from this.
Wow.
Then do you know what? We've really fulfilled some real fantastic opportunities for this young fella. He is gigging in venues he could never have dreamed of.
You've almost got this like Queen vibe going on. You know, yeah. I'm listening to your story. You know, we've all watched the Queen movie, and you know the tribute to Freddie Mercury. It sounds a bit like that. I bet Matt's really excited, isn't he?
Listen, this young fella came out of university with a music degree. Had never had really any kind of live experience under his belt, and he's already toured in Europe. This will be his 2nd tour in Europe.
Wow.
So he's toured in Europe. He's played the best venues in Newcastle. He's played in Edinburgh. He's played in Manchester. He plays this week at 2 iconic venues in the capital in London. He's played in Rotherham, Sheffield, Preston, Manchester, Newcastle, Durham. We've played Hell's Angel bike festivals, which have been just incredible. We're booked to play another Hell's Angel bike festival.
It's every musician's dream, isn't it? Just to like
absolutely.
Find some rock and rollers.
Listen, the bike festival guys are the best in the world. They're the best payers. They're the most honest folks in the world, and their rallies are always well attended.
They are.
So we're stoked to be invited back to a couple of bike rallies there. They're probably the best gentlemen we've ever played for, actually. And every venue that we've played for, either in support or headlined, has been a success story. I can't tell you the love we're getting back from the audience, and that's because we literally give every ounce of energy on the stage. There's nothing left. when that show is over, you need to wheel us back to the ambulances that are waiting for us outside and re-pump us full of adrenaline because we've given it over.
You are one of these artists that are going to still be rocking when they're 70, 80 years old, aren't they? You're still going to be on that stage. You are not going to give up.
Mick's doing it. Mick's showing us the way. Mick's showing us the way. If Mick Jagger can still, I'm just watching AC/DC this week, Angus Young in his 70s, running up and down, 100-meter length of stage, and still going. And I was there when AC/DC did their first gigs in the UK with Bon Scott, and he on his shoulders. I literally stood next to him in the Free Trade Hall. So, no, our energy is building. Our following is a real following. They're not bots. They're not machines. They are people that are really showing real love for this band. Fantastic. And I'm telling you, we're giving it back. We're giving it back. We practically give our merchandise away at shows, to be honest with you, Age. We always give our buttons away, the badges and stuff.
It's worth going to your show just to get some free merch, hey?
I know. I'll have to send you the merch to make sure you get it. But, we're not merch drivers. We're not like, we want to sell the CD because it's the only way we can finance the band properly, really. Spotify is not paying a lot of money out, but it is a platform to get heard on. You can't say I'm not going to involve in Spotify. I wish there was more money involved, but if people will buy the CD for us, if people will get to the shows and fill a show for us, then we can have a decent wage out of that. But right now, the momentum in the band is just it's unstoppable. It's a runaway train.
It is, and by the sounds of it, you're a runaway person.
But if you want to get on the VIPSuite ride, not the bandwagon, we want you to get on our train. We've got a seat for you on the ride, and we want you to take the seat and ride with us because we've got people now in Slovakia who are, sending photographs. Can't wait to see you. The tour over there is already sold out. They're not massive venues. It's a dive bar, small club venue, but they're sold out, and we can't wait to get there. It's going to be fantastic.
I have got to get you over to sunny Torbay and get you playing live for us over in Devon. Do you know what?
I've got family down there.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. And she Danielle, my stepsister, she keeps telling me, "Will you come this far? Will you come this far?" I mean, she's a big VIP follower, and she's dying to get us down. And I'll tell you, we're just not familiar with the clubland. We're just not familiar with the. I'm sure between us and your family, we can work something out. Listen, we are right. This is a thing about doing these live shows. I would love to be speaking to artists for hours and hours and hours because I could. And your journey is amazing. Do you know, actually, I don't need your journeys on your Facebook page. If anyone wants to join your train, find you by Facebook. Find you by YouTube, listen to your music on Apple and Spotify and things like that. That journey is literally available. Documented.
I put up your socials when we first started this journey together. I will do it with your video as well. And we'll get people on your train. And that train is going to be with you all the way to Slovakia by the looks of it.
Absolutely. And you know what? Don't laugh. If people want to come to Slovakia, the cost of flying to Slovakia is cheaper than getting the metro around London.
Fantastic.
I mean, it's like 30 quid. You can get yourself to Bratislava for the weekend. Come and see the band play live.
30 quid to get to Slovakia. I'll let the missus know that, and we'll see what the pennies are like when we have a look through our jar.
Isn't it crazy?
It's absolutely crazy.
Be our guest.
Yes. Do you know what? It's been such fun. You've told us loads. You've given some top tips. You've told us about your band life. You've told us about the single. You've told us about the album. Just gonna have a quick finish off because we've only got about a couple of minutes left of the show.
Sure.
So I'll tell you what. Let's go for Matt. If you had another Matt come into your band, what top 3 tips would you have for this new musician coming into your band? What would they need to do, and how would they be able to join your band like yours?
I think is make sure you've got your own image. Okay. Develop your own image. Matt has got his own image. He's the punk in the cowpunk of our band. Develop your image. When somebody comes to see you play, they are not interested in looking at somebody who looks like the next door neighbor mowing the lawn. They want to see somebody who looks like an alien from another planet who's there to entertain them and blow their socks off. You have got to come with your own image. You've got to come with attitude. You've got to come with confidence, and you've got to know how to play your instrument. Fantastic. And if you can put that package together, there's no stopping you in any band.
Exactly.
You could fit into the #1 bands in the world if you've got that in you to the confidence to get behind your instrument, know you can play it well, know you've got your own image, know you've got the confidence, and put it out there. And for me, if you've got that, there's always a place in our band. By the way, no one's giving up their slot in VIP, but let me tell you, that's the kind of criteria you would need to join this band. Right now, we've got 4 great guys in the band, all with their own egos and all with their own attitude and their own look. And they are a quartet of musicians coming together. And we hope for a while that you know, your listeners and fans out there will follow VIPSuite's journey through Facebook, through Spotify, through the social, through your medium as well, Adrian. And again, thanks for having us on the show.
So very being welcome.
Part of our journey and a very early member of our journey. You know, an honorary member of VIPSuite.
As on the VIPSuite, I'll get the first.
You know, you don't have to pay to come to our shows. You just got to turn up and say, "The Waller's here. I'm part of the VIPSuite journey." So you've already got a seat on this train in the VIPSuite as well.
Brilliant, excellent. Do you know what, Paul? It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been an absolute real pleasure for me as well, because it's been such a good journey with me. I'm still on that train with you. I'm remaining on that train with you. I'm absolutely loving the music. Keep tuning out the tunes, okay? And we'll see where that journey goes. I'm really excited to see the tour.
And remember, Human Jungle, the album's out. It's on Spotify. You can get all the tracks there. And you can pick up the CD at the shows.
Brilliant. We will be picking up the CDs. We'll be picking up the merch. And we wish you luck for everything, okay? So this is AJ signing off.
God bless everybody. Rock and roll and good luck to England tonight.
Rock and roll. Good luck. Take care, buddy. I'm just going to
bye-bye now.
Take care.
I'm over and out.